Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome in. It's SCC After Dark. It is Wednesday night, but don't get used to it anymore because
It's our last Wednesday night.
It's our last Wednesday night together. But don't worry, we're not going anywhere. We're just
still
moving.
here.
We're just moving
different night.
closer to the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna get you primed for the weekend, and it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a fun shift because we'll be that much closer to college football games, and you'll be able to just jump right from us. And then after you listen to us, when you wake up the next morning, it will be Friday, and that's a good feeling. So, welcome into our.
Missed a discussion somewhere in there.
Yeah, you come in late.
Our Wednesday night extravaganzas. This is in essence the last dance.
Oh, by the way, speaking of which, South Carolina was beating Florida by 12 points with 12 minutes to go. Florida won the game.
Oh, wow.
Sounds about right. They did the same thing against Vandy. They were winning for a while and then end up losing the game.
It's so weird in basketball right now. It's crazy.
Yeah,
but fun.
It is very fun, but man, I don't know. I don't know who the best team is in the SEC right now. I guess honestly,
there isn't one like it. I mean, I think
no, there is one.
There
is one. Yeah, there's Auburn. Yeah,
but they look shaky. I mean, South Carolina,
but they don't lose. But they don't lose.
Well, they should have had at least 2 losses.
And whenever Broom gets back, Broom makes them dang near unbeatable.
Well, Vandy's shoulda record should be undefeated. Should have record. Vandy football should have been 9-3, but yeah.
And Ole Miss had a terrible start against Mississippi State Saturday. Forced overtime and had a 3-point shot to tie at the very end. I mean, Ole Miss has a case for the second best team in the conference right now.
I don't know, dude. Like watching Alabama play, obviously watching that game closely because the Locked On Vandy piece that I do. Watching that game, it's like Alabama they could just pour it on, dude.
Yeah, Ole Miss held them to Ole Miss held them to 64.
Jesus.
It was crazy.
And they unleashed for 103 against Vandy, so that's pretty crazy. But
yeah, after the Ole Miss game, they did that to Kentucky and then to Vandy. They're just on a butt kicking spree at the moment.
Yeah, they're on a tear, dude. They had 3 people over 20 points. Two of them not starters. So, Jake, do you think those 2 guys are going to be starting here pretty soon?
I don't know. It's kind of hard to
Holloway and Diabate.
Yeah, our bench last night scored, I think, 56 points.
Yeah, it was
so it's. But where do you put them at? I mean, who do you take out of the lineup right now to plug those guys in? I mean,
true. Who's the dude that scored like 5 points in your starting lineup? There's one dude I think he scored he didn't score anything.
Yeah, but he might be the rebounding guy. He might be the guy that keeps the chains moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, the possession receiver.
Yeah, you can't have all piano players. You need piano carriers as well.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you call me?
You know what I called you.
You're a cake eater. It is. Who is this guy? Yeah. Phylon and Omari.
Phylon's had a couple of big games this year.
Yeah, Phylon's like a 5-star freshman. He's really
Clifford Omari played only 16 minutes. So is there a chance that Holloway or Diabate get in for him? Because they played 28 and 23 minutes.
How many fouls did he have?
He had just 2.
Okay, so it wasn't foul trouble.
Yeah, he might just be about to get replaced.
Yeah.
Good deal. Vandy has been terrible at shooting 3-pointers, and now all of a sudden they've had back-to-back games over 35%, 42%. This is the crazy part.
Should I call them Steph?
They shot better from 3 against Alabama than they did with regular field goals.
Yeah,
they were like almost like low 30%. Hold on, I'm pulling up the box score here. They were 38% from the field, 42% from 3. Against South Carolina, they were 19% from 3.
Jeez.
Yeah.
They can't see. Hey,
What just happened there?
Yeah, I don't know.
airliner.
Taking
Uh
off.
oh, we lost Corey.
Am I taking flight?
Yeah.
He was, yeah,
It did.
Yeah.
he took flight.
This is your captain speaking. We've reached our cruising altitude at 10,000 feet. The weather in Atlanta.
Stop it, boy. Blair is not a pilot. Stop it.
That was the that was the Quagmire impression. You know when Quagmire gets on and he's like, giggity.
Giggity, 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 goo.
The Rebs and the Aggies, have they tipped off?
They are getting ready to tip off. I've got it on directly in front of me. So if I get distracted, everybody's going to bear with me. If you're an Ole Miss fan, wanting to watch along, well, I'm right here watching with you.
If you want to watch along, just stare into his glasses. You'll be able to see it.
Mm.
Pretty
That'd be
much.
funny. That'd be funny if we got a copyright hit. Off
Oh my
glasses.
gosh, that'd be pretty
That would be
funny.
hilarious.
All right, so enough about basketball. Did you guys? Well, obviously, you guys watched the Natty, but
Obviously.
what were your thoughts on the Natty?
For a half, I did. I had to go to bed with the baby. Second half.
Ohio State just had a dominant run through the postseason. I don't know. Notre Dame almost came back, but not really. But
You get
close
two
enough to make it look
mulligans.
like a game.
The talent discrepancy was evident for sure.
That's the one issue I have here with the 12. I mean, there's a couple issues with the 12-team playoff, but the biggest one I have is that a team like Ohio State who loses 2 games, loses to Michigan like they did, gets a mulligan, 2 mulligans, and then is able to run through, and win a national title. And any year before this, we probably would have fired Ryan Day, actually. But now he's a national champion and he'll be there for a long time.
Well, in their
It's good for
defense,
Michigan.
Ohio State did have the best roster in college football this year.
I
Heck,
did.
they
Yeah.
Totally.
Bought everybody.
paid $30 million for it.
Right.
And the best roster in the SEC didn't even make the playoffs.
True.
And
Yeah, I know. They were 7-6.
it's not a situation that anybody should be very proud of, but I
Jake
mean,
caught that.
yeah.
Well, all right, Bossman, you brought it up. I'm just going to lay it out there too. One of the issues with the 12-team playoff, especially this year, there wasn't really 12 teams that deserved to be there, honestly. So they're going to have that issue for now on. We should have just started at 8 and went with
No. I hate the word deserves. I just hate that.
nobody did.
They should have went to 16 and not put their thumbs
Well,
on the
that's fine,
scale
too.
of a selection.
That's fine too. I just
Yeah.
don't think there was.
I
12
think
teams.
the automatic qualifiers and the buys is what ruined this, not the number of teams.
Yeah, I think the seeding
Yeah.
was the worst because that Ohio State Tennessee game should not have been a first round game.
No,
No.
Tennessee should have been hosting SMU or something like that.
Yeah,
I
And-
definitely agree with that.
yeah, just go no buys. I'm okay with that too because the buy teams just got it was terrible.
Actually, that's true. I guess that was a reward for winning your conference, but still.
Not really a reward when you get bounced.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it didn't seem to help any of them. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Because like Notre Dame came in red hot
Yeah.
and Georgia just they got controlled.
That's another thing I want to bring up. Notre Dame does not have to play a conference championship game. They're not even in the conference. So, I mean, essentially, they're going to be in it every single year if they win all their games. So, is that really fair to allow them to be in if they're not going to be in the conference? I mean, everybody else is playing an extra game at the end of the year.
Well, not everybody. Like Texas. Well, Texas
Tennessee didn't play an extra game.
Yeah.
Tennessee
Most
Yeah, but-
everybody played an extra game.
But from what Jake's saying, they could also kind of schedule whoever they want. I mean,
Right.
as long as they win them all, why would you schedule hard games?
Exactly.
They've got 5 top 10 wins in the last 20 years.
Right.
Notre Dame does.
Exactly.
pretty solid.
Yeah.
Pretty solid.
Basically, it's going to be important that if they're going to do this, they need to be serious about it.
Yeah.
And they need to develop a net style system for college football, and a lot of this would stop. if
Yeah.
quad one wins became a thing.
Mm.
Yeah, that needs to happen. Like strength of schedule needs to come back into play when making decisions because Alabama would have jumped in over SMU. Not saying it would have been the result would have been much different. I have no idea how Alabama would have fared at Penn State, but they certainly, I don't want to use the word deserved, but they certainly earned by playing a tough schedule and beating the SEC champion at home. They deserved a right to be in the tournament. But then again, you take care of business against Oklahoma and you're in, it doesn't matter.
Right.
So, on that token, so
But
for
if
you.
you do that, a lot of teams just won't ever have a chance to get in. I mean, even if
Right.
they win all their games. I know it works in basketball because so many people get into the tournament already. There's only 12 teams. Yeah.
Well, if you go to 16,
I don't know. It's hard
you
to
won't have-
fix it.
you won't have that problem because if you're the 17th, if you're left out and you're number 17, like what do you have to really gripe about?
Well, that's true. If you go to 16, maybe 16's in.
Well, if you're
no-
if
no
you're
bias.
13 and you get left out, there's nothing to gripe about. I don't think that's in the situation right now. People talking like the Barrett Sallees of the world and all of that going, it's like we had it right with the BCS and all that. You guys are crazy. You guys are nuts. This is a much better system, and the negatives that come from that most of the time, the BCS fans and the 14 playoff fans, they're Alabama fans. That they're the teams that were in that game pretty quickly anyway. So we'll see exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't miss those deals. I like the drama of the 12 team playoff. I like the fact that it was you had it stretched out. You had more meaningful
games,
postseason games. It's not major fixes. There's no major problems. It's you fix the seating. You get a
take
couple.
the thumb off the scales. That's what it is. Take the thumb off the scales and let the bracket be organic.
Yeah, just let it flow, or just use your net rankings and reseed it once you get your field. Reseed it and say, okay, we're going to go top to bottom. Get rid of the buys altogether. I think you still have an even number of games, right? I'm not a bracketologist, but I think you still
So just add 2 more.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think you would just have 2 more games, and I think that would still even out, right?
Yep.
I don't know. I kind of like the idea of expanding it just because it almost seems like a lot of bowl games are just kind of worthless now because so many people opt out and so many people transfer before them. And the bowl games, if they're part of the playoffs, those people actually want to stick around and watch. And
Just go to
just more fun.
Just go March Madness, man. Just like how many
Yeah,
bowl
that's-
teams are there, right? How many bowl teams are there?
Ooh, all together.
Enough. A lot.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
What were there? Is there like is there more than 64 bowl teams?
It's close.
It's close.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
close.
I was
Yeah.
going to guess right around there, actually.
Just do March Madness.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Right.
just do what is it called? Playoff February? Playoff February, I think is what it is. Just do like March Madness and just go 64 teams, man. Just let everybody play it out, man. You won't get any opt-outs. You'll get some meaningful games. You'll get some cool stuff. Maybe it'll be a national holiday.
I think if we expand to 16, I just worry about. I mean, the first round, honestly, it was kind of boring. I don't think every year Ohio State versus Tennessee is going to be a boring game, and we will get more of those, in the coming years in the first round. But overall, the first round was a bunch of blowouts.
the first round of the NCAA tournaments that way too. You get a lot of
Well,
boring.
it's not. You got 15 beating a 2. I mean,
Right.
Every
Well,
year.
They had their
Three
thumbs
beat
on
the
the scale.
14.
You had Boise State and Arizona State that had no business being as high as their seeds, which
Right.
meant Ohio State and those teams got pushed down into lower games. They had no business playing in that game.
Right.
If
Notre
you
Dame probably too.
eliminate the buys and you take your thumb off the scale, you have Oregon playing Clemson in the first round. And that is the thing, Ohio State is playing Ole Miss. That would be a much more equitable thing, and you would have better football games. And all of this stuff of people arguing about, oh, this is wrong, this is what's wrong, it would all go away. The problem with the college football playoff right now is that the conferences are trying to put their thumbs on the scale. And right now you hear it's like they could expand to 14 teams with the SEC getting 4 automatic berths. No, that is crap. That's thumb on the scales crap. Just 1 through 16, no automatic berths. get a computer BCS model ranking, rank the 16 teams, and play the games.
Easy peasy.
Mm.
Easy breezy. Case closed. Open and shut, Case Johnson.
Yes.
Sprinkle some crack on him and get out of here.
I do fully agree though with that thumb on the scales. That did drive me nuts. So like the way that
That's the reason you had crappy matchups. That's the
Yeah.
reason the quarterfinal games were boring. Because you had Boise State and Penn State. Like, that's not a matchup.
No,
Yeah,
that should
or
be a first round
quarterfinal.
matchup.
That was a first round game.
No,
Tennessee and Ohio State was a second round game.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a quarterfinal.
and that's the high end politics of the sport that kind of screws fans over at the end of the day. It's like, will that ever change? I don't think it will, because the SEC is trying to throw their weight around, and so is the Big Ten. We want these auto bids, what have you, and it turns out to be these these games that suck at the end of the day.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it'll fix itself. Hopefully they tinker with it a little bit and they realize that the buys were a terrible idea. The seeding was a terrible idea. Like, hey, your 4 best conference champions get your 4 highest ranked conference champions get buys, which by default was Boise. Like, that just doesn't make sense. Like, you should just reshuffle the deck. Boise would have been the 12 seed and they would have been playing Oregon.
Like,
Clemson would have played Oregon. Clemson was like 18. They got an automatic bid as the ACC champion.
But they were the bottom seed, right?
They
right.
were the bottom seed, but like, are they like, if you reshuffle and you re-rank,
It would be
would they
one,
rank
one
would they
versus
rank
16. It'd be
would they
one
rank
versus
ahead?
16.
Would they rank ahead of
I,
if they re-ranked it once they got the field? Would
They better not.
I feel like
Boise-
the bottom seed would be
Boise
bottom
State
seed still.
deserves
Yeah.
to be ahead of Clemson.
and I don't know if that's true or not. I believe I saw that. I think the current contract for the it right now is till 2028, and they can't really tinker with it until then. I don't know if that's true or not.
No,
And they
no,
tinker with it every year.
they can tinker with it this year if it's got to be unanimous
Okay.
for 2025 or the 2026 playoff, like January 2026. 2027, they can do things all over because it's a new contract.
Oh, 2027 is the new contract. Okay.
Yeah.
But they can tinker with it this coming up year if it's unanimous.
If it's unanimous, but you're not going to be unanimous.
Right.
You're not going to. Why would the ACC vote to take away automatic qualifiers and the bye?
Yeah, they're not going to.
They're not going to.
well, after what happened with the buys, they might be amendable to the buys.
Oh, they want the automatic qualifier in the buys so the Clemson or SMU could end up in the field.
Oh, yeah.
This Texas A&M Ole Miss game is turning into a rock fight.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're at the 14-minute mark. It's 5-3.
Oh Lord.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, it's just physical defense. It's just an absolute rock fight.
Are they gonna go straight to the bullpen after that one? 5-3. What inning is it?
God, Corey.
Wasn't funny on the first joke.
I had to keep trying. Had to get dedicated to that one. All right. So Steve, you probably know where I'm going with this. The others don't because they weren't privy to the group chat. But the SEC, and I'm gonna put it up as this graphic because I made it as this graphic. But let's see. The USA Today came out with 1 through 134. And 12 teams from the SEC finished in the top 40. How about that?
It's too many.
Who was 134? That's what I want to know.
134. Hold on.
That feels like Kennesaw State.
Yeah.
Eastern Washington, somebody
Yeah,
like
something
that.
like that. Yeah.
Eastern Washington's. Are they FBS?
They're FCS.
Oh
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
All right. Let's see.
They were D1 at one time, or am I crazy? Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else.
Okay. So a re-rank puts number 134 is. I'll give you a hint. Nick Saban.
Oh, Kent State.
Alabama. Oh,
Uh,
So the bottom three the relegation zone here is Kennesaw State, Southern Miss, the Mustard Buzzards, and Kent State.
The Mustard Buzzards.
Can't say I haven't won a game in like 6 years. So
Yeah,
Guess who-
Kent State was bad. You're right.
Guess who number 130 was? Purdue.
Oh wow!
Wow, really?
What a drop off for them.
Purdue.
They beat Ohio State 3 years ago.
There is not a more top-heavy conference in college football than the Big Ten.
Yeah.
FSU was 115. The lowest SEC team was 110.
There's that
Kentucky.
Mississippi State.
Mississippi State.
Mississippi
Oh.
State.
That's right. Kentucky did have a big win.
Kentucky was
Yes,
80
they did.
Kentucky was 89. They did. Somehow. I don't know how they did that.
So I have no idea how that happened.
Yeah.
Steve Spencer would be disappointed. Houston was 94.
Yeah.
Auburn was 86.
Mm.
Wisconsin was 76. That's the next. No, UCLA 84. That's the next Big Ten team. And then Wisconsin. Yeah,
I'm surprised Luke Fickle hadn't been able to get that going faster. Honestly, I thought he would.
he's a cheese ball. He's a G5 cheese ball, kind of like what Billy was or is still maybe.
It seems like
We talking LinkedIn Billy here?
Yeah, him and Fickle are the same cat. They're cheesy, and players aren't buying into that crap.
it's kind of like Cincinnati might produce those at this point, huh?
Yeah.
Yes, so
Mr. Butch Jones.
yeah. I mean, he like you're at a major program with a pretty, I mean, relatively speaking, with a pretty rich history, and you're wearing slogans on the back of your pullover.
And on your trash can. Wait, no, that's not Cincinnati. Sorry.
That's Butch.
Yeah.
So he had like #team,
Yeah.
on his pullover, like
Family.
Yeah. Forget about me. I love you. That's what it's
It's like nuclear luge, essentially. It's like know your cliches. That is what they do.
Right.
Yeah. It's like what are we doing here? Like and my buddy Steve, you know him, Matt Perkins. He's a massive Wisconsin fan, host of Believe in Badgers. I tease him about that all the time. He's like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Like, why? What? Like, can you imagine Lane Kiffin wearing #family with no, Brian Kelly's probably wearing that one.
Yeah. Family.
Family.
Actually, Lane Kiffin is not the right example for what you want. He's not.
I was just talking about.
He wears recruiting slogans to the point where the SEC tells him to stop.
The sip.
Yeah, he actually made a logo, got the school to do it so he could wear that legally, and not face any repercussions. But he's done hashtags.
That's a nick.
all of that stuff.
He's not. Has he done hashtags on his coaching gear?
Oh yeah, he did #Manning one time. He did when they were trying to get Arch Manning.
Arch,
Yep.
yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Literally painted Manning in the end zones.
but yeah, that's
Forgot about that.
Well, like Lane Kiffin's personality, like that, just he's not trying to. I mean, he's trying to get attention. He's trying to like Luke Fickle's like it's different. It's a different feel because we know Lane Kiffin. We know just kind of how he is, and
That surprises me too, though. That
that's genuine for him.
it just surprises me though that he, was in the Ohio State program for all those years and he came out of cheeseball.
He's
Yeah.
a cheese ball.
Who knew?
He like Fickle comes off, Butch Jones comes off,
Yeah.
like all those like
Brian Kelly comes off.
Brian Kelly comes off, Billy Napier comes off as phony and authentic.
Yeah.
Like with all that stuff.
Yeah.
Lane Kiffin does the sip stuff, and like it's like who he is,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and everybody's like, that's just Lane Kiffin, and everybody's cool with it. Like,
Where did they put the Aggies in that?
in the what?
In the
ranking.
134.
Yeah. With 40?
Nope. Higher than that.
I totally spaced
36?
out for a second.
Higher.
Really?
33.
Okay.
33 for the Ags. Vandy is top 40. Vandy is sitting at 40, right below Arkansas. Florida's at 35.
Whose rankings did you say these were?
USA Today.
Oh, okay. I was looking at rankings and I found one in the Athletic did the same thing, but
Texas can't beat Georgia.
theirs are a
but
little
they're
off.
still ranked ahead of them.
Yeah. And which, by the way, all these way too early top 25 has Texas number 1. If their quarterback was named Arch Davis, they wouldn't be in the top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. We were talking about that. We just touched on it briefly on Biscuits at SEC Live, just about how much they're losing. I mean, I know they've recruited well, but they're losing 4 out of 5 starting linemen on the offensive line. They're losing 3 out of 4 starting wide receivers, I believe. Losing 2 running backs. You're losing your starting quarterback. Like, they're replacing a lot. And in today's college football, that's tough to do. So we'll see.
Yeah, they got a portal and they really have it.
Yeah.
Next year they have to go to Georgia, to the Swamp, I guess to Kentucky and to Mississippi State. I mean, but you're
Calzada, baby.
Calzone.
Yeah, you should be all right with your schedule that you have, but they start off against Ohio State. So you lose in Sanford Stadium, you lose to Ohio State, you're right on the cusp of being playoff eligible. You can't screw up again. So why are you saying this is the top team in the country when nobody thinks that they're going to go into Sanford Stadium and win, because they have already proven they can't beat Georgia anywhere else? And then Ohio State in the horseshoe? Do you think you're going to pull that off?
Game 1 with Arch?
Yeah.
First big start, and you got 100,000 people in it's a hostile environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jacked up.
And they like Ryan Day again. So they'll all show up.
Yeah.
Ryan Day figured out that they are not indeed soft. And I guess he listened to Chip Kelly finally. And Chip Kelly's like, dude, we just need to do us. We're good. We just need to do us. And they did, and they won the national championship.
What I expect to happen after that game is, in this battle, everybody's going into the game talking Arch Manning, but after the game they're going to be talking about Julian Sayin.
Probably so.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited to well, not because it's Ohio State, but I think he's a good quarterback and he'll be fun to watch, unfortunately, at Ohio State. Yeah. Unfortunately, we're going to have to hear all the Big Ten.
All off season.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Big Ten. Like, are they that insecure?
Yeah, it's the conference equivalent of daddy issues. It is.
Yes.
It is.
It's
so bad.
Brutal. Like, who cares?
So they're Tampa.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Basically.
City of Tampa.
Oh,
Yeah.
Steve is going to visit
yeah.
the Big Ten very soon.
Yeah.
Except I enjoy Tampa, not Ohio State.
Right.
It kind of feels like
Planning on visiting the Big Ten Friday, actually.
Mhm.
Oh, good.
it kind of feels like the argument that they used against the SEC for all those years has flipped now, because at least for this year. But all those years they would always say, "Oh, it's Alabama and everybody else." The SEC sucks except for Alabama, and Alabama's carrying the water for the SEC. And now it's like, well, it was Ohio State and Penn State. That was about the only two that were worth a damn. In that conference.
Oregon proved
Oregon, yeah, Oregon.
paper
I always forget that they're in the Big Ten.
Oh,
But,
no.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
when it
Okay,
mattered
listen.
the most, they crumbled big time.
And I will say they don't have the talent to match Ohio State, but Illinois made a big jump this year too. They're getting a lot better.
Bielema is at home
Hmm.
in Illinois. Like, that is the perfect place for him.
Yep.
And Big Teners will probably argue Indiana. Indiana gets in the playoff, but we all know. Come on.
We saw what happened.
Yeah.
But they played 2 decent football teams and lost both of the games. And
Right.
both of them, yeah.
Yeah.
So-
That won't last.
Got skull drug, as a Big Tenor said during our show tonight.
Hmm. Yep.
Yeah, that's not going to last. Like, okay, you got Ohio State and Oregon, maybe, sort of.
As Steve said, it's top heavy.
Like
Yeah,
who knows?
fair.
Like Penn State, you can't trust them year to year. They had a good year, I'll give them credit. They made the semifinals, but they went through SMU and Boise
Boise. Yeah.
to get there. Like, really?
Right.
That was what was interesting about the SEC this year. I mean, top to bottom, I think we were probably down a little bit, but still top to bottom, it was a super tough league. You just didn't have the teams at the top, the
elite team.
top in one game.
There was no elite teams, but it was it was much more evenly distributed, but there was no elite team. Everyone had their warts.
Right.
And that's how it played out in the bowl games. Like South Carolina
Mm-hmm.
had a phenomenal season, but they just couldn't win up front against Illinois, who played bully ball on them.
Right.
And we was arguing they should have been one of the teams in, on this show.
And Illinois played bully ball on them, and that was
Yeah.
their biggest deficiency. Like teams that they beat tried to throw on them, and they didn't murder ball it.
Yeah.
And those teams ended up losing because those ends are pass rush specialists. Like those guys are going to play for a long time in the NFL, barring
Injuries.
But yeah, I mean, you had Ole Miss, who's probably the best roster. They just lost at inopportune times. Lost to Florida. They would have been in.
I blame analytics completely for Ole Miss not making the playoffs.
Yeah, because Lane Kiffin became
You got-
Lane Kiffin's tendency to become a 12-year-old playing Madden
Yeah.
is what lost you guys the playoff spot.
It's just like a classic life lesson that we all learn at one time or another, right? It's like go with your gut, trust your gut. And Lane allowed the analytics to override his gut on too many calls that ended up costing him the playoff.
You got to learn how to play as a favorite. That was the problem with Ole Miss this year. You have to learn how to play as a favorite.
Yeah.
And they didn't. They didn't play as a favorite worth a damn. And they lost to Kentucky. They lost to Florida. And
I mean, and you got to use a little bit of common sense too. I mean, a couple of years ago when they played Alabama, he went for it like on 4th and 22. You just got to use common sense.
I know
Just
it's
punt the ball away.
You have one of the best defenses in all of college football. Use
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Don't hang them out.
yeah. And they let Florida do that.
Hang in.
They let Florida hang in, and Florida decided they like Billy Napier, and DJ Lagway is, when healthy, he's a really good quarterback, and they let that happen. So, did you guys see the way too early Heisman list?
No.
Yeah, Austin Simmons coming in at got the 13th best odds, 30-1.
Yeah,
Wow.
FanDuel. It was FanDuel, right?
Yeah.
They had Gunnar Stockton as plus 3,300.
Wow.
What the hell?
That's because he's the quarterback at Georgia. That's all. The same reason they have Nico Iamaleava on that list too, like number 7. They just think that
Third best
Tennessee's
odds.
going to win a lot of games.
Yeah, like I don't get the Gunnar Stockton thing. Like he shouldn't be on the list. We don't know anything about him.
Well, Arch Manning is 2nd.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I
Yeah.
think he'll be good, but
I guess you got to have somebody, right?
Yeah, they had Garrett Nussmeier number 1, and he's fine. But good gosh, if you get any pressure on him, he crumbles, man.
Right.
It's
This
like
is
a
the most-
Dollar General patio furniture here.
This is the most uninspiring list I've ever seen.
Yeah. If you look at the way too early top 25s, just look at it and see the teams that don't have returning quarterbacks next year.
That's it's bad. But like Cade Klubnik, like
I think Clemson's going to be pretty good next year.
they are. I think they return a lot of people.
Yeah, I think this was the lucky year to get them in the playoff, and next year they're going to run a little bit.
Yeah, Dabo is going to use that experience. I mean, because of Dabo's experience, they gave Texas a run because
Mhm.
Texas should have wiped the floor with them. They
Yeah.
didn't. He gave him a run.
They don't end the year with the Gamecocks next year. That's interesting. I'm looking at Clemson's schedule now.
do they not?
Yeah.
That is weird.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. They do end the year. I'm sorry. They don't have the date set. Because they don't have the date set. They put South Carolina up high, but they start the season with LSU. So we'll find out real quick.
Yeah, And well, actually, we'll find out that LSU's frauds real quick. That's what we'll find
Again.
out. Again.
Could be
Yeah.
too.
Hey.
Could be too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Texas #1, Georgia #2, Carson Beck at Miami, who we're not sure if his elbow is going to be intact.
Right.
Julian Sayin at Ohio State. Is Drew Aller coming back for like a 20th year?
Yes, but the question is, does that matter?
It does.
Every time they play in a big ball game, he has no completions to wide receivers, and
Well-
then they always blame the wide receivers.
And they
But-
lost everybody too. They lost those tight ends or one of them, and then they lost 3 wide receivers. They're 3
Yeah.
top receivers to the portal. So
Yeah, last year it's like
I'm tired of being
they couldn't be
blamed.
open. We needed new wide receivers, and KLS or whatever his name went to Auburn, and almost had 1,000 yards receiving.
Yeah.
Yep.
Drew Aller is just not good.
No, he's not. So
He's a
Alabama and
college-
Illinois are below
college
BYU and SMU. Like, I don't believe that. I don't buy that.
What's
That's
that?
interesting.
Alabama and Illinois are below SMU and BYU. I don't buy that one bit in this way too early top 25.
It's
you're
the
not.
whole thing that we talked about. Alabama has a new quarterback.
Yeah,
And
we do.
I don't care. They're still better than SMU and BYU.
Yes,
I was
but
re-ranking
but their over under on win total next year is 8.5.
That
When
is
was the last time in Alabama over under on win total was 8.5?
Probably 2007.
yeah.
I was about to say, yeah.
They went under.
It's like
Uh,
Mike Shula was the last time
I think
they
Ole
had
Miss
those
is-
odds.
I think Ole Miss is too low, but again, I think it's a new quarterback thing. But like
Yeah,
Ole
but
Miss got a
they're
better-
selective about their new quarterbacks. If you have a new quarterback in a brand, okay, they go ahead and give you the benefit of the doubt. Ole Miss has 3 10-win seasons in the last 4 years, but they don't get the benefit of the doubt that Lane Kiffin's going to figure it out.
or
Ole Miss,
Kalani-
Ole Miss is one commit away from winning the transfer portal again.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Iowa State at 19, I think that's a little low. I think they should be higher. I think Iowa State should be higher than Illinois, maybe. I think SMU and BYU should be lower.
Did you see that Brett Bielema hopped into the mentions for the JP poll, the Josh Pate poll, end of season poll
Oh yeah, I did see
about Illinois being too low?
that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that happened. I think either Chris Marler or somebody referred to him as Fat Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
Fat Lane Kiffin.
That's wrong.
Nikes, that's awesome.
That's good.
I mean, I see it, but that's wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is wrong. But it is spot on.
Yeah, I
It's
see it.
Does FSU bounce back next year?
Yes, they're not going to pull a 2-10.
No.
They're
No,
not
that-
going undefeated though.
That might be like
Do they get bowl eligible?
they might pull a Vandy and go like 7-6.
Who's going to be the quarterback?
Castellanos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Castellanos.
Thomas
That's
Castellanos.
right. Yeah.
Which that was an interesting get. I mean, Castellanos, he played well, during his 2 years at BC, but he also got benched late in the year,
Yeah.
by
Yeah, but
Really?
Castellanos was created in a lab to run Gus's offense.
Yeah.
That's
You.
yeah.
What's that good they are because they open with Bama. So
He's kind of like a Nick Marshall style. Is that
Yeah.
he doesn't fit
Oh,
in with
thing.
Bill Bryan at all.
yeah,
No.
right. Yeah.
Bill Bryan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bill Bryan.
No,
doesn't have the O.
No.
So Brad Crawford came out with his quarterback list, top 10 projecting for 25, and his number 1 was Cade Klubnik. His top 10 was Klubnik, Nussmeier, Manning, Sam Levitt, Carson Beck, Lenore Sellers, Fernando Mendoza, who's at Indiana, Drew Aller, Diego Pavia, and Jackson Arnold.
Jackson Arnold on that list, you send him to jail.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Drew Aller, Drew Aller of Pavia.
I'm not even going to
Yeah.
touch the Drew Aller stuff because my opinion on him is no. But Jackson Arnold being on that list,
Yeah,
And
that's pretty wild.
Nico's not.
Yeah, Nico's not. Aller's above Pavia.
Manning's third.
Hey, where's DJ Lagway, by the way? I'd have put
Yeah.
DJ Lagway.
Carson Beck with no elbow right now. We don't know how he's going to be at number 5.
Oh, he's got the girlfriend now, so his mind will be anywhere
Listen,
but football.
And he's down there with
Let's
Right.
let's do an apples to apples comparison real quick, because Archie's on the list, right?
Number 3.
Okay, he's number 3 on the list. He was forced into action against Georgia at home for Texas. When Georgia was up, everything was there. He was forced into action. He ended up -1 rushing yards, a sack caused fumble. He threw for like 16 yards on 3 of 6 completions or something like that.
Yep.
Later on in the season, Austin Simmons was forced into action against the Georgia Bulldogs. He
Yeah.
went 5 of 6, led Ole Miss down the field for a touchdown for 75 yards.
Yeah.
But Austin Simmons isn't on that list. It's because he has that last name Manning.
Right. That's all
That's
it is.
it. That's it.
That's all it is. He's unproven, though. It's
Yeah.
a problem.
And my team has the Manning Center. So when I say that, come on.
Right.
Yeah, there's a couple interesting ones on this list. I for sure would have had Lagway on there. That's and Arnold is he could end up being good. He could end up being good, but
Is Riley Leonard a senior?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
would say that he should have been on the list if he was a junior.
Yes. And Jelly, I saw him. I've seen him pop up on some lists.
Yeah. I think
People are just taking flyers and hoping that they're right.
Right.
I like Levitt. I like that one. I like Klubnik.
Yeah.
Sellers, I think, is
As long as you give him the option of running, yeah, Sellers is fine. Illinois and Ole Miss took his running ability away from him, and South Carolina's offense was stagnant at best.
Yeah.
but because he's a one-trick pony, is he really number 6?
No.
well, I guess they're projecting. I mean, it's what we talked about on the show, right? It's like if he can develop as a passer,
Right.
he's going to be
That's a big
top
if.
quarterback in the country. It is a big if. I'm not, it's the same with at A&M with Marcel Reed. Like
Yeah.
if he can develop as a passer, again, big if. But they've got the talent to be top 5 quarterbacks in the country.
So you take all right, let's take these 3 quarterbacks, okay? You have Diego Pavia, Lenore Sellers, Marcel Reed. Okay? All 3 really good, talented running threats, right? The difference in those 3 is Pavia is, I'm not saying he's a polished passer, but he's much more polished of a passer than those other 2. Then I think Sellers and then I think Marcel Reed is how you would finish that list. And I think that they got to show something before they even get on these lists, Like I think, Sellers has got to show something this year for him to be on this list for the next year.
You think the reason why Pavia is so far down is because he plays for Vandy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. The reason why he's number 9, because he's better than Aller. He's better than Mendoza. I don't even know what
Right.
Mendoza I don't even know anything about Mendoza.
Mendoza's in Indiana now. So
Yeah.
He's good, but he's a stretch. I'm with you. It's 7.
Yeah. Like they named a line after him.
The Mendoza line.
The Mendoza line.
A different sport.
Yeah. Like Carson Beck, like that's name recognition, but like we don't how can you project him to be the 5th best quarterback when we don't know how his elbow is going to respond? Arch Manning, we don't know him as a full-time starter. How is he the 3rd best quarterback? As projections go, maybe he's got a lot of talent and he's got Steve Sarkisian on his side, but there's not much coming back on the offensive side of the ball for Texas. Like, how do you do that? And Nussmeier has reached his ceiling. He's good, but he's reached his ceiling.
yeah, and the all-world offensive tackles that they had, they're gone.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think it's going to be a little bit rougher for Nussmeier too. But he's got
And remember, at this time last year, Carson Beck was 1-1.
Right.
Yep.
he was 1-1 and now he's playing for Miami. If that tells you anything.
And like Bossman said, Texas is losing 4 out of 5 offensive linemen. So who are they going to have, blocking for Manning this year?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Unproven
that's a good
talent.
question. I think Nussmeier being up there, I think Nussmeier's a good quarterback. He's got his flaws, but the fact that he is number 2 on a list like this,
He has
shows you-
no ceiling because he's already there.
Right.
According
Yeah.
to FanDuel, he's the Heisman favorite.
I mean, that's just crazy to me.
Mm.
And on Carson Beck's thing is, this past year he tended to throw a lot more interceptions than what he has in the past. So I don't know if it was a mental block or what, but
he was double clutching a lot. He
Right.
wasn't trusting his receivers, which I don't blame him there either.
And Georgia
Yeah.
didn't have an elect left tackle. They didn't have a Mims this year.
yeah, that's true too.
Their offensive line was amazingly average.
Mm.
Yeah, they was kind of desperate at the end of the year.
And they didn't have a running game or wide receivers.
Mhm.
The talent drop off of Georgia from just 2 years ago to this year, my goodness, it was huge.
Yeah,
It
I mean, they
was.
were 2 years ago. They had, or even just a year ago.
I mean, Brock Bowers and Ladd McConkey.
Well, you forget to mention the Dejon Edwards and Kendall Milton at running back.
Right.
Yeah.
Like without those two, Georgia doesn't have much of an offense. I mean, I know you got Brock Bowers, who's your get out of jail free card. Don't get me wrong on that.
On
But
every play, pretty much.
yeah, he took over the Auburn game. He's like, okay,
Mhm.
just throw
Yeah.
me the ball. We'll figure it out. But that running game was insane.
Yeah.
And they didn't have that.
Could it be because the offensive line kind of struggled this year? Is that part of it?
They
say
didn't
you
have
had-
any- I don't think they had any I mean,
You had
Nate
some
Frazier
talent.
was they just had okay running backs too. Like they didn't have any ETN was just kind of he just kind of turned out to be okay.
I thought Oscar Delp was going to develop, but he didn't really do much either.
Yeah, he didn't he didn't develop as much as I thought. Lucky actually ended up being the better tight end. Lawson Lucky,
Yeah.
number
Well,
7.
and Delp's offense following Brock Bowers is kind of tough. So you got a high ceiling you got to play to. So
Yeah, I mean Delp is got an obvious ceiling, which
right.
I mean it's a higher ceiling than most tight ends.
Mhm.
But when you come from Brock Bowers, you're always going to hit your head on that.
Right.
Is Bobo coming back?
As far as I know, as of right now, he is.
Well, there's a rumor that come out a few weeks ago that he was stepping down because of health reasons, and then
I was gonna say, I saw something about that, but I didn't know if it was real or not.
That was quickly squashed,
Oh, all right.
Because with
and I think it was
Branch and the receivers that they're bringing in,
yeah.
they need an offensive coordinator who can use them.
right.
And Bobo ain't that. And I like Bobo. I think he's been very good for Georgia. I think he's done a lot of great things, but I just think he's better served as an analyst. Honestly, I think him calling plays versus him just his game plans are pretty good, but when he gets off script, it's bad. He has a hard time adjusting. But his scripted plays are outstanding. But if teams can get him off script, it's bad. That's his problem.
I'm interested with. I'm just looking at Lenora Sellers here, thinking about him next year. I'm starting to worry a little bit that he's like an Anthony Richardson. A lot of talent, unbelievable athletic ability.
Gonna get a GM fired.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Though he's got everything athletically that you want. It's off the charts. And when he throws a good ball, it looks really good, but it's not always that accurate. He's not always making the good reads. His legs are very, enticing because the guy can rip it when he gets outside the pocket and if he gets a little bit of room. But yeah, I don't know. That just hit me like a large, a tall quarterback, very athletic.
So Jalen Milroe 2.0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who do you think? Is it Ty Simpson next year for the Tide, or who's it going to be?
I mean, he's maybe. I mean, we didn't go after anybody in the portal, which I didn't expect to. But Keelan Russell's coming in, so there's the old adage of Saban didn't like to play freshman quarterbacks. Well, Saban's not there no more, so will he be able to get in and get his foot in the door and learn the playbook and actually have a chance to fight? Maybe, but right now I'd probably say Ty. We'll see what he's got, but there's some guys behind him that's hungry to play too. I'm sure.
So it's
Austin
probably,
Mack,
is that's the Washington kid, right?
right?
Yeah. So one of those three. Okay.
Yep.
And Georgia's not guaranteed to play Gunnar Stockton either.
Right.
Like this Puglisi guy, he got banged up during camp. Like he had some like, I guess some freshman issues that were like pulled muscles, not used to like that level of practice, but he's got a nice quick release. He's mobile. He's kind of a Bobo type quarterback.
Yeah.
It would not shock me for him to win that battle because it's going to be a wide open thing. So for Gunnar Stock, it should just be in the early Heisman, Georgia quarterback.
I mean, I didn't have anything negative about, Gunnar Stockton, how he played in that game. I think he threw like 252 yards. I think it was other factors that lost him that game.
Yeah, but he's not. The thing about Gunnar is he played admirably, but he's not a game changer.
Right. But
he needs a game changer coordinator. Like
they don't have
Florida.
that.
I see what you did there.
It
Yeah.
took Steve a minute.
Yeah.
You just need somebody that I think can distribute the ball, is better with his reads and all that stuff.
That hurt him. And
That did.
getting the line adjusted too.
Knowing the protections, like having a smart guy that understands. I mean, Gunner's smart. I'm not saying he's not, but like getting somebody that can be a little bit more decisive and can see that stuff a little bit better. And if Gunner ends up being that guy, then great.
Right.
If Gunner needs to be in a system where the quarterback run is featured, like I think Gunner honestly should transfer to Vandy or Georgia Tech. I honestly think that because can you imagine him with Buster?
Oh my gosh.
Like Buster, like the amount that Haynes King ran,
Mm-hmm.
like imagine Gunnar Stockton doing that, who's a better runner than Haynes King. Or imagine him with Tim Beck at Vandy. Or imagine him at Arkansas.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. Or imagine him at Notre Dame.
Honestly, Haynes King's the only reason why Georgia Tech was in that game against Georgia. Honestly.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Haynes King, like Buster was in his bag that game. I mean,
He was.
Yeah.
Just ran out of steam there. Like,
yeah, they did. They just didn't have the depth. But like, I think for Georgia, they need somebody who's mobile enough, but is a distributor. That's Georgia's quarterback. That's Alabama's quarterback. That's who Alabama needs. They need a distributor that has some mobility enough to escape, but it's going to set up protection well and get the ball where it needs to go. Kind of like what Michael Penix did for Kalen DeBoer. That type of player who takes over the game, but Penix was a distributor. He wasn't a runner. He could run, but he wasn't a runner. Milroe was a fish out of water at Alabama.
No. One thing that I'm curious about is I think his name is Deshaun Henderson. He's a 2026 out of the Houston area.
mm-hmm.
This guy, he's basically RG3.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking to see if he ends up at one of the higher level programs or if he's going to end up at a place like Ole Miss or a second tier type, because he's committed to Houston right now, but he's not going to stick at Houston. He's too good. He played in the Navy All-American game as a junior and was, I think, the MVP of that game. So it'll be interesting to see.
I'm excited to see that quarterback. Like I think if you're Vandy, look at him. No, Vandy's also high on Jared Curtis. They're really going hard after Jared Curtis.
I'm sure they are.
Does Nico make the next step next year? How do we feel about that?
Yes.
You have to think he does,
so?
right, Jeb?
He has to, honestly.
He was a freshman. Yes, he's going to take the next step. The question is, are we going to lose him after next year, or do we get 2 more years out of him? That's what I'm worried about.
You think he's going to transfer, or do you think he's?
No, he'll go to the NFL if he doesn't.
No, I
Yeah,
don't think
that's why I'm open. 2 more
Wow.
years.
I think he's too far behind. To
Is
lose.
he a red shirt?
Yeah,
I didn't
don't-
realize he was a
don't-
red shirt.
Yeah, he's a
don't go
redshirt.
full volunteer fan.
He'll be a redshirt sophomore. I know. I'm saying 2 more years.
I think he's.
I just said that's the only argument I see out there.
He's way too far behind to be an NFL guy. But I think there was a lot of great things about Nico. He just, you could tell his inexperience was.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's
he
all
was
that was.
redshirt freshman. Yeah,
He'll be fine.
I didn't think we'd do as well as we did this last year. So
He'll be.
I've been happy with him.
He'll
The
be
only thing that worried me a little bit was those the wide receivers going in the portal.
Yeah.
Although the one
Yeah.
kid came back, Mike White, I think his name is, a 5-star kid.
Mike Matthews, yeah.
Mike Matthews, sorry. Yeah, he came back. So that
Yeah,
might
that-
probably some money grab, but
That was definitely concerning, yes.
Who's
Yeah.
going to be running the ball next year for Tennessee since
There'll be a two-headed monster thing. So Bishop is the name of a guy that we thought was going to be the main guy, but Peyton Lewis, I believe his name, was a freshman, looked really good. So
Yeah, I
he's
did
going to
hear
cut
that.
into those runs.
Yeah.
My goodness, this is the most hilarious spam that I've gotten. It says, "Hi Ray, Mississippi State University is inviting you to the chat and community for interested students on ZME," with a link, and I was like, "Okay, that's fishing."
Mhm.
That's interesting. At least yours are better. Mine are always your packages can't be delivered.
You
Yeah.
should.
Be sure and click here and give us your credit card number. We'll get
Yeah.
them to you right away.
Right.
Or whatever that. I don't-
What's the greatest
Okay.
fishing of all time? What's the greatest fishing email of all time?
I mean, I did have family. I don't get who it was. In case they listen, that fell for that whole Nigerian prince thing like years and years ago.
Oh,
Back when
wow.
that started. Yes.
Oh, some dude just wants to volunteer giving you $4 million just to.
Yeah. That's become so iconic. Everybody
Just if
knows
you
that.
give him $2,000 in the bank, he'll give you
Oh.
$4 million.
It was so much weirder now. It was like they will send you a check, and when you deposit it, you cash it and send them back the cash. But then later, the bank finds out the check was fake and makes you pay them back, even though they cashed it for you. I don't know. I didn't really understand it. All I know is he lost a bunch of money.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I like those clips of people answering the phone calls from scammers that they put on social media now. They just mess
Yes.
with the scammer for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's always fun.
There's one YouTube video out there. I don't have the heart or the patience or the guts to watch it, but it's like 10 hours. This guy keeps the scammer on.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just pretending to be like an old lady
Sure.
or something.
Taking him in a
Goes
loop.
takes a nap.
No, he gets the scammer chasing his tail. Basically, it's hilarious. Those are funny.
Well, Corey, about 2 minutes.
About 2 minutes. So let me tell you a quick story about my situation. I was talking to this girl from the U.S. nation.
Oh, my God.
Oh, please go on.
Yeah.
We got plenty of time. What are you talking about?
You have my attention.
So, thank you for listening to the SEC After Dark podcast. Thank you for watching. Thank you for however you consume us. Thank you for being there. This is our last ride for Wednesday nights, and we'll come back at you next week on Thursday.
By the way, congratulations, Cassidy, for winning the bowl.
Yes.
You know, the picks
Yeah.
this year.
Congrats, Cassidy.
Stupid Notre Dame.
I
Could've
thought Jeb
caught
was
me up.
going to, yeah.
Yeah. It's all right. I would have taken Ohio State if I was just picking, but
Yeah.
I tried.
Speaking of which, I'll be quick on this one. I took Ohio State minus 14.5 when they were up 31-7.
Oh, gosh, Corey.
And Notre Dame almost came back. Almost.
Yeah.
And Notre Dame covered. That was
Yeah.
a brutal loss. Luckily, it was only cost me $5, so
That's good.
I'm not too mad about it, but still brutal. All right, so we are SEC After Dark. Stephen Willis, locked on Ole Miss, and he is the king of all the Ole Miss podcasts, the number one watched podcast in all of the Ole Miss land,
All time.
all time.
Mhm.
He literally is the GOAT. You have Jeb Beecham, who is at Olin Mills, and
Yes.
we'll do a podcast soon. 1923 is coming out in a month, so Jeb,
Mhm.
got a month.
All right. All right.
Boss Man is one half of Biscuits and SEC. I think he's Biscuits and Hank is SEC. I think, right? Or is it the other way?
Yeah,
around?
No, you nailed it. Boss man, B for biscuits.
That's right.
There you go. Jake Thomas, soon to be Bama After Dark, maybe. Who knows? As of right now, Tide Talk Live. And of course, me, Believe in Georgia Dogs, Locked On Vandy. Getting close. I'm 5 away from 600. So if I can
Nice.
hit 600 by the end of
Yeah.
January, I'm in
Go to
good-
Locked On Vandy and subscribe to his site. If you're watching this, do that. Give Corey, throw him a bone.
It's 124 of you in here. I'm sure not all of y'all
Yeah.
follow that. So
Yeah. So if just 5 of you heard that, that'd be fine too. So that being said, we are SEC After Dark. We join forces, and soon Off the Rails. That'll launch here pretty soon. Where we'll talk about everything probably except football. So stay tuned for that. And with that, take care. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. Stay warm. All you that are in the snow zone, I empathize. I don't sympathize, but I do empathize because we get snow here in Nashville. But it is 7 degrees right now here, so that's not fun.
Hey, Milton, Florida got 8 feet 8 inches of snow.
good gosh.
Good God.
Milton, Florida.
Wow.
Good
I mean,
God.
8 inches.
Oh.
8.8 inches. Sorry, not 8 feet.
That would have been
That's a
amazing.
No,
storm of a century
I mean,
right there.
8 inches is still
That's
crazy in
still-
Florida, but
that broke the state record for snowfall by 4 inches.
I was going to say
Wow.
Buffalo's impressed at that one.
Hey,
Buffalo's like,
this-
damn, dude, you're getting some snow.
this is the first time ever you've heard of lake effect snow in Buffalo. Florida had Gulf effect snow.
Yeah.
The Gulf of America.
Gulf of America. That's right.
Yeah.
Some snow. That's awesome. All right. Go Dogs, anchor down. Peace.
Hotty toddy.
go Vols.